cards or the teachings for the class depict what's going on with those of us that are here, often depicted through a thread that's run through my clients in the previous week. And this week has been interesting. It's been mostly about chains of bondage, as in people staying in situations unhealthy for them or exacerbating their unhappiness for all sorts of reasons that our head can give us. It can even be from religion. And as you know, a lot of you know my beliefs is my God would not want anybody to be unhappy. And the card that I got this morning was the raven in the North American tradition. And if you think of a raven, I see a raven as a beautiful creature. I see the black-blue iridescent colour that comes off when the light bounces off this beautiful bird, which is revered in many cultures, many mysticisms. And sometimes it can evoke fear because of the colour, and people associate the colour with death, or they may see it as a symbol of death. But as you know, in our spiritual beliefs, we don't see death either as an ending. The element of fear, I fear, is more about the unknown. And when your feet on the ground, that's understandable. It can be the fear of the unknown that holds us back from doing anything. And somewhere in our human psyche, we feel that if it's known to us and it's, when I say comfortable, I mean comfortable as in usual. It may not be particularly comfortable, but that it's okay and we stay with it and often put up with, that's our lot. The raven, I feel, depicts power, because the latter of which I've been saying is giving your power away. The raven is about, comes into one's life to say, remember your power. Remember the ability that we have to be discerning about a cage around us. Is this cage one that we've chosen? For a start, ask yourself that. Or is it self-imposed through fear of other people's thoughts or society's thoughts that you may be doing something different or different outside of your beliefs in your religion? So looking at the raven from a different perspective than fear, let's look at the raven. The raven is very good defender. They're a protector, they're a defender. And they will screech out of nowhere to sort of shock the consciousness, is what I feel. It's like eventually we can get to a place. What it's saying to me is sometimes we can get to a place where we cannot take any more. That's the raven screeching. And it's like we then have to make a sudden change right there, right then. And sometimes that's applicable. And knowing that you will be supported, that you have your own wings, that you can do it. And sometimes it may just sit there looking at us, the raven, to say, think about this, think about, plan your strategy. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? What do you need? And when I say what do you need, I really want you to decide what you need. And it's not about being egotistical or a narcissist. It's more about recognizing your worth, as in what your life is worth to you. We know, we've covered many times, that life is such a gift. Sometimes when it's all going hard, or it can seem to be going hard in every which way that you look, we can have the element of despair. where darkness may seem attractive. But as you know, from our spiritual beliefs, if it's not your time to go, that means it's your time to face it, to face whatever it is that you need to do to enhance and to enrich your life. And the raven will help you. It will help throw light in the darkness, light in the fear of the unknown. So strangely enough, the next card that I got was the throat chakra, which obviously, excuse the pun, speaks for itself. So this is your inner dialogue. I want you to really look at if there's situations you find that you're in, that you want change, or that you feel that are unbearable or hurtful, or you're generally unhappy. Ask yourself, do I need to put up with this? Can I change this? And what is it that I want? Often when we're sensitives and empaths, we are so wrapped up on how it might affect other people, change, or will we be hurting them or letting them down? We forget ourselves. We completely forget ourselves in it. So I'm not saying to ride roughshod over people. What I'm saying is really ask yourself. This throat chakra is about you talking to yourself and asking yourself the questions of, do I need this? Do I want this? And do you remember, I've talked many times about want and need, hugely different. We are always provided with what we need, thanks to Mother Earth on a practical level. And spiritually, we are provided with what we need to get us through. We just need to maybe find it or pull on it or draw on it. So really asking yourself, because again, it's back to your self-worth, is if you have to stop and say to yourself, but I want this, but, then stop the buts and ask yourself, why wouldn't you want it? And why wouldn't it benefit you? And you know, I'm not talking about bigger cars or flasher houses or anything like that. I'm talking about inner peace, inner contentment, inner happiness, a way in which you can live your life authentically, live your life being the person that you truly are. So if something's stopping you, if there's what I see is like barbed wire around the raven, asking yourself, you as the raven, what's stopping you from flying? Okay, there may be things around you, but what's stopping you from flying? And the angel card was the Angel of Mercy. And although we had the Angel of Mercy last week, I feel the Angel of Mercy this week bringing in a different context. This is the Angel of Mercy asking you to have mercy upon yourself. Often we can beat ourselves up for, shall we say, making what we think were mistakes now with hindsight. And often, you know, I can hear my grandmother's era, and now I would say saying, well, you made your bed, you lay in it. Okay. To an extent, I think that's easy to say when it's not you that's laying in the bed. And I think people got themselves off the hook of not wanting to see it, not wanting to realize, etc., especially in situations when they actually couldn't do anything about it for the person, because it was for the person to have to decide they wanted to get out of the bed, and then people can help. And it's not until that decision comes that it can be rather exasperating, especially when you love somebody and you see them continually staying in a situation. So again, it's not about judgment of that was wrong. It's having mercy for why we feel or why we felt in certain ways. And again, being empaths, which you are, that's why you're here and attracted to the teachings. We can have extreme empathy for people and want to go and try and help them, heal them, be of assistance. And there's nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with that. But sometimes we overdo it where it costs us our freedom of our way of life. And that's obviously can be closer to home, getting into relationships where we actually go in as a healer, we don't realize it. And then we're in a situation where we find all we're doing is giving and we're not receiving. Or it can be in jobs. It can be in, particularly those of you who work in teams, you give to your team, you expect support from your team, and you do get support from your team. But then the more that you do, the more that you find you're doing it with ease, the more is put on you, and more is put upon you is the word to be looking at. Where we become human doers, where we are doing rather than being, and you lose yourself because all you're doing is giving. So again, it's back to the self-worth of stop and expect to receive. Sometimes the throat chakra will come in where we have to say, enough is enough. I choose not to give anymore. And this is where the raven comes in, where the raven says, now be discerning, look at it, look at the bigger picture. It may be that you have to give for a little bit longer in that respect while you sort something else out, because the expectation will be, because you're the human doer, that you can do it all. So you will be doing it, but you'll be doing it with change, and reminding yourself that you are a human being. And in order to find the way through often turbulent times, difficult times, we have to be. And that's the time when it's the hardest to be, because in our physical body, when our nervous system is shocked or is tense, there's the flight or fright. It's either we close down and we do nothing, or we just want to run. But it's all about movement, that, or even to contain something in takes a lot of energy. So this is where the blue-black on the raven depicts to me, find the light, find that little area where you can just breathe, let it go, and allow your nervous system on the physical, forget your mind, as I've talked before about putting your mind in a glass. And just feel your physical body, and your body will tell you how much tension there is going on in your life. And I want you to physically work with your breath to bring your tension down. And obviously we do this through meditation, but also it's through being. So reminding yourself, even in your everyday life, your everyday doings, that you are a being. You have to breathe. So just bringing your attention back to your breath will actually bring a stillness in. And the more that you work on it, the more that you will find the stillness that will give you clarity as to where and what to do, rather than knee-jerk reactions, going with attention rather than going with a flow. So imagining that you're allowing water to flow through your body. So bringing your attention then to your circulation. So just by bringing your physical awareness to a place that it can actually flow, any obstacles that are caused, they can be got round. The water will flow around the stones, or it will flow over, or we as human beings will get over it without a doubt, but it can feel like it's never going to end. So this is where not putting time constraints on yourself, because that's yet more tension. Okay, knowing the feeling of where you want to get to is enough. Don't bring the man-made time element into it, because there's so many equations and factors to take into account. Then our mind's going overload again, overload. Just bring into your breath the peace, the calm, and the feeling of contentment. And know that you will get there, and you will get there when the time's right. But that you've made the biggest decision, i.e. the first step, as they all say, is the hardest. So I would say the first step in this instance is having the talk with yourself, actually looking to see what it is. So the raven, as I say, depicts probably the ultimate, which is death. And as I say, we can look at death as a complete and final ending. But life is never about a complete and utter ending. Even if we change everything, say we were to, for example, change where we lived, our job, our hairstyle, our weight, everything, all in one go, which is very highly unlikely, there's still the common denominator of the human being that's inside. So there is never complete ending. So this is what we often fear, that it's a complete ending. So rather than looking at an ending, talk to yourself about change, and that change can be exciting. And it's just the fear of what's the other side of that change that holds us back. So you can do little exercises of looking at various things where you've had to change, or you have changed through your own volition, and what was the other side of it. And you're all still here, so I'm guessing it wasn't all bad. So looking at it, and then bringing the angel of mercy for if we've made mistakes, remembering that we're human. Of course, we've all made mistakes. There is not one person alive that does not go through having made a mistake in life. And if there are any of you out there, please come forward. I would love to meet you. So bring in the angel of mercy, of being soft with yourself, but also compassionate of yourself. As you're all empaths, you will easily be compassionate with others. This is about being compassionate to yourself, remembering that these classes are about doing things that you don't normally do in life. We don't normally do in life, being empaths. And this is about really, really putting yourself first. So bring in the angel of mercy to have compassion for yourself, not looking at any things as mistakes, rather than a door that we opened to see what was behind it and not fear what was behind it. And we looked, and we may have liked some of it, but not all of it. And that too is okay. None of us are going to like everything about everything. None of us are going to like everything about everybody. None of us are going to be liked by everybody or everything about us. So it's being feet on the ground and being realistic and going with the flow of what works for you. So on that note, that's the teachings for today.